What is up, everybody, and welcome back to the channel. My name is Josh. This is Native Nomads, and today we are going to be discussing the underhood compressor mount from CATuned for your Subaru Outback Wilderness. Stay tuned. Now, before we get started talking about the compressor and going through all of its components and how you can install this on your Outback Wilderness, I'd like to thank the sponsor of today's video, as well as every single video here on the channel, and that is Adventure Rig Shop. AdventureRigShop.com is where you can purchase a compressor mount for your Outback Wilderness, along with a host of other products for your Outback Wilderness or your Mercedes Sprinter van. If you have both, right on. It's a great place to shop, and we appreciate the sponsorship from Adventure Rig Shop. Now that that's out of the way, let's dive into the compressor mount, the compressor, the wiring harness, and all the things that you're going to need to know in exactly how this thing will come and show up to your door. Now, I want to go through the fact that when you receive your compressor mount, your compressor will not be mounted to it. You have 4 Allen bolts that you need to take out of your compressor to remove the base plate off the compressor. Along with, on the mount, there are 4 10mm bolts that need to be removed so you can then mount your compressor to the compressor mount. I'm saying mount a lot and I'm saying compressor a lot. I'm going to mess this up, so I apologize. But those 10mm bolts then allow you to put the plate that's on the compressor right now that you took off with your Allen keys. You can put that back on the compressor mount itself, and then you can mount the compressor to it. I hope that makes sense. That was a lot, and I really am trying my best to make this as easy as possible, but sometimes there's a lot of words that you got to say. But the compressor itself, the one thing that I'm super thrilled about and that you should be thrilled about is that your compressor comes just like this, and everything is already plumbed. If you see this blue cylinder, this is where you plug in your air hose directly into this opening. This red button is how you press it down and it releases your air hose for you. All of this is already plumbed and already ready to go, so you do not have to mess with it whatsoever. It makes life extremely easy if you've never installed a compressor or done any plumbing on a compressor before. It's not that it's hard, it's just already done for you, which makes things 1,000 times easier if you ask me. The other thing that you will need to install that I already have installed is your switch. There is a pre-cut out spot for your switch right here already in the mount. So this switch is what you will use to turn on and off your compressor when you're using it. You do not have to use this switch. I personally will not be using this switch for this compressor or compressor mount, simply because the way that I install my compressors is much different than this, because the wiring harnesses that you receive from ARB, if you've never done this before and you're not really sure how to do it, it can be a little bit difficult. But there is a set of instructions for the ARB compressor that come with the kit. Everything comes together, so you will be able to check in those instructions and see exactly which set of wires that you're going to need to use to plug in to your switch. There is a diagram within the instructions that show you all of that, so it's not a big deal. I just don't like all of this stuff hanging off, and for me and you, if you drive an Outback Wilderness, you do not have air lockers or anything else that this compressor is oftentimes used for, and this harness is like a universal harness for all of those different items, and a lot of these things have no benefit to us because we won't be using them, so I usually strip this thing down. That's besides the point. Do what you want. It's very easy to follow the instructions. I just don't prefer to do it myself, personally. Now, the compressor mount itself and installing it is super easy. There's 2 bolt holes that are right up here, and there's one U-shaped slot on the bottom of this compressor. This simply sits on top of the 2 bolts that are coming through your body for your strut. You put this on the 2 bolts. This U-bolt slides into another 12mm bolt that is underneath a little bit, so it's a little bit hard to find, and I had trouble filming it yesterday, but you just release it a little bit, wind it back about 6 or 7 turns, and you will be able to slide that little U directly on after you get those 2 holes on the shock mount. You get that all tightened down, you're done. The system is completely installed at that point. Now it just comes down to wiring. And because we did not have a lot of time yesterday to go through the wiring process, and I'm not going to be wiring this up myself this way anyways, I did not spend a lot of time on it, but I will talk through a little bit of how to do it so you can get a better understanding of what to expect when you do use this wiring harness. Okay, so the wiring of this compressor is not overly difficult, but like I said earlier, I do not intend to use this wire. I'm going to use this wiring harness, but I'm going to strip it down, but I'm going to show you how you can use this wiring harness itself. That way, if you want to use it, you can. We're going to start on the compressor side. So back here is the solenoid switch, and the solenoid switch is already installed into your compressor, so you don't have to guess around about how to do that. It's already there and it's already ready for you. You will see on your wiring harness this conglomeration of different switches or different wires for the switch. We're not there yet. We're going to start on the solenoid. You have a red and a blue wire right here that goes into the solenoid itself. Now, I'm not sure if polarity actually matters here, so you might want to plug them in, test it. If it doesn't work, just reverse these. It's not a big deal. You're not going to mess anything up. It just may not turn the compressor on right away. I've never actually done it this way, so I'm not sure. But I know that this is where they go, and this is what you need to do first. The other thing that you will receive is you will receive a relay, and it comes in the box, and it's kind of a pain, but this relay comes in the box, and this is the relay switch. You simply plug. There's only one way that this can go in. Plug that in. Now your relay is connected, and you are good to go with that one. The next thing that you need to do, you will see on this side a large red and black wire. Your large red and black wire plug directly into your other large red and black wire that is right here. So you will see this. They have a white stripe going across them. You simply connect. Once again, there's only one way that this can connect, so you cannot mess this up. Put that in there. That is wired correctly. Now, with your relay done, your solenoid is connected, your main power is connected. It's time to move on to the switch. I would install this switch after you get the wires on there properly. So, from my understanding, and if this is not absolutely correct, just try the other one and it'll be fine. It's just one of the two, and I'm almost 100% positive it's switch one, but sometimes these things are finicky and I may be wrong. But in the instructions, there is the ARB instructions. It tells you exactly where each one of these goes. If you're using switch 1 or you're using switch 2, it tells you where these go. Because I don't have them in front of me, I'm not going to connect these, but what I do know is the 2 blacks for certain go on the bottom, and then your yellow, red, and blue all go to ones on top or in the middle. It has a diagram, it shows you. I just don't know where it's at, but it's very simple. And then you just kind of leave this hanging out. So what you're going to do is you're going to take your compressor. Once it's installed inside the vehicle, you're going to grab your wires for your switches. And you can see why I hate using this thing, because it is just a mess of wires. You're going to pop these through the back, and then you're going to hook your switch up that way. And then you're just going to leave this hanging that way. It's out of the way, and then you can go test it. And if everything works properly, then you can put it in finally. All you have to do, slide it in. It has 2 tabs that catch on this metal rectangle, and that is completely finished. Now we move on to the battery side. This is the easiest part, but some people who have never used a fuse tap before may find this a little bit more difficult. Very simply, your red main power goes to the power on your battery. I have the switch negative and the big negative put together. I always try to put my grounds together because I think it's the best way to do it. That way everything is in one spot and you know it's all grounded properly. But I connect the two blacks together and I toss this on the negative terminal of my battery. And then this lonely red wire is the one that is tricky for a lot of people. And if you never used a fuse tap, that is probably why. This might be your first time using it, so I'm going to explain it to you. This will come connected. I disconnected this because I was doing some testing yesterday for some other things, and I will be connecting this directly into my auxiliary light controller from AuxBeam. That link will be in the description if you want to go that route. But you're going to receive this already connected. Now, a fuse tap has a spot for a fuse that you remove from your vehicle on the top. It comes with multiple fuses for different amperages depending upon which slot you intend to use. Now, there are two slots that are completely vacant that both work with the accessory of the vehicle that you could simply take this fuse tap, put your 10 amp fuse in, 7.5 amp fuse in, 15 amp fuse in, whatever amp fuse you want to use. I would recommend a 10 because I believe those are 10 amp fuse slots, and it comes with the 10 amp fuse already installed in it. You put that in with this connected, and anytime you turn your accessory on in your vehicle, that will then send power from here to the compressor through the main power and the main ground. And that is how a fuse tap works. That way you don't have to rely on or always have it on or always have it hot. It only turns on when you use the accessory in your vehicle. So if you double click the button, the accessory comes on, or if you start your vehicle, the accessory is on. That will then send power to your compressor. So if you're testing this and your vehicle is off, it will not work. You will need to either turn your vehicle on or make sure the accessory power is on. I would recommend only using this compressor when your battery or when your vehicle is actually on, because it does pull a significant amount of power. And if you sit there for too long, you're pumping up all four tires, or maybe you're not paying attention, you could kill your battery. So I would just make sure your vehicle is on when you do this. That way you don't air up your tires and then go to turn your vehicle on from accessory mode and it won't start. That would be a huge pain in the butt, and I wouldn't recommend doing that. But that is the very simple breakdown of how you install this wiring harness, how you install this compressor mount from CATuned. If you're interested in purchasing this compressor, the compressor and the compressor mount, the link is in the description for you to purchase. These usually ship out in about 48 hours. There are plenty of them in stock. We are excited to bring products like this to the channel, like this to the Outback Wilderness world. CATuned is also the same company who built the bumper for your Subaru Outback Wilderness. So if you're looking for a new bumper with a winch capability, a hidden winch mount, it is an awesome product, and that link will also be in the description for you to check out if in fact you're really going to take this thing off-road the way some of us do. So that's it. I appreciate your time. I appreciate you for watching. If you found this video helpful, we would love for you to like the video, subscribe to the channel, come along for all of our adventures. We are just about to start our brand new Lexus GX 460 build. We traded in the Power Wagon and got a GX 460. I will be explaining all the reasons why in another video, along with our build plans and the awesome companies that we have coming on board to help us build that vehicle. It should be an absolute blast. This will be one of those very simplistic builds where I am not going to go over the top on, because I just want a functional, off-road, super capable vehicle that I can drive every single day on the highway, because like most of us, we drive our cars every day on the road, and only having it good off-road doesn't do you much good. So, appreciate you for watching, and I'll see you on the next one.